Welcome to New Earth Activations with Raina. Yesterday I tried doing 2 sessions and then I got caught up because I received a message that I really felt it, and I felt it in my heart, and I just had to make it priority and drop everything. Because I knew it wasn't true. And then when I thought about it, it wasn't true. I just did things a little differently than what they had expected. And it's already there. I just didn't speak about it yet publicly because I didn't know if it was okay for me to talk about it. Being that I'm not set up in the way that I need to be. Because of the financials. So I didn't think that it was okay for me to talk about it. So I did it in another way. And then I just got so carried away with it that I was doing it all night and then again today. Until I did it until I passed out last night. So that's why I didn't get up a second video for yesterday. I mean, I did other ones, but just not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. I just wanted you to know because I know I said I was getting 2 up, so. And plus, I don't know if it would have been uploaded anyway because everything was turned off because of the weather, but it's fine. There was no storm. I'm grateful for that. And then I had a little accident last night. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was probably because I was too tired. And I don't know how I did it, but I had hurt my knee. And I could feel it bleeding in 2 different spots. But that's okay too. It stings a little bit, but that's okay. These sessions that I do every day, when I put them out for you, I've said this before, I work on myself. I'm still doing sessions with my own guide, and I don't have any intention of quitting. I intend to take it as far as I can take it. Because it's important. When I first began, I knew that I wanted to do that right from the get-go. To take all the sessions I could and take it as far as I could. And I didn't even know what I was doing. And I've been on top of it and kept my word. I've stayed on top of it. No matter what my situation is, no matter what my circumstances were, no matter how I was living, no matter how my wardrobe looked, no matter how I looked or had to show myself now, which I'm not really thrilled about because of, my financials, and I don't feel like I would never allow myself to look like this, but that'll pass too. Because once I'm able to turn this around, it's going to be no end in sight for me. I know that for a fact. But it's better to be honest than be any other way, I feel. So, you never know what's going to happen when you do these sessions. But it is best to have no judgment, never criticize, and the sarcasm and all the negativity. Because all that's going to do is, by you judging it, criticizing it, putting it down, being sarcastic, it only blocks you from receiving what you need to receive. Because what you're doing is you're keeping your mind busy, so then you're closing down your heart and you're not able to receive. And you're creating blockages, which are not fun. And you're only making it harder for yourself. I know, I've been there. And not that I was thinking like that or doing that, because if I was sarcastic, if I was negative, if I was a Debbie Downer, if I was judgmental, I wouldn't have even found my way to these sessions. I wouldn't have gotten lucky to have the guides that I have. Because if your beliefs can really make you stuck and stagnant, and just you're like frozen in that space that you want to get out of, and that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't certainly. It just keeps you where you're at, where they want you, stuck and stagnant and not moving forward. So the only way to really receive is by doing exactly the way I'm showing you. You're breathing, you're focusing on your breath while stilling the mind. And it may be a little challenging for some if you like to drink, smoke, party, but you can still overcome it if you really want to. You have to use your willpower and make the conscious choice to stay on top of these things. And here's the thing with me. I didn't just step into this so that I can jump out and excuse me a minute. Yeah, I didn't. You just lost your job. Yeah. Well, I think me being here speaks for itself. Like, I don't need to go into a whole explanation. I've been here every single day this year without missing a day, without skipping a day. And I've put up more than one a day. And lots of times I exceeded the limit because it says you could put no more up than 50, and I've done that many times. If you have a lot of mind chatter, if you're distracted and your mind is so busy because you've got thoughts coming in faster than you're moving your mouth, and you really need to meditate. Because not every thought you think is your own, nor should you attach to it. Lots of them are manufactured, and if you don't know what that means, all the more reason for you to stay on top of this and be here. I was going to do a session differently today, but I need to change the ensemble, what I'm wearing, but I haven't been able to get to my things because they're still in the luggage, and I gotta get to that to change it. Hopefully it's not destroyed, because where I'm staying, I have things missing, things that I really needed, and I think that's awful, to go behind somebody's back and take what doesn't belong to you, especially when they're in the situation that I'm in. So that's how that's going. And financially, I shouldn't be in this situation because I'm smarter than this. But I tell you this, no one will be able to take from me and do that to me again. Nobody. Because when you've had everything taken from you and you only have, you walked out with some suitcases, new suitcases, and then that was stolen and went through and stuff was taken out of that, and then again and again. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's happened already. Now I'm down to very little, and some of it I sold, some of it I gave away, and some of it was taken. But I've gotten to the point where now it's more important to stay focused on your money, because in that way, if you have that, nobody you have your freedom to come and go as you please, and never let someone control your money. Especially if they show up in a really sweet or nice way. Oh, but I really want to do this for you, blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to think about it. Or however it is. Never let someone control your money. And never do a joint bank account. Not unless you can absolutely trust that person and they've done their spiritual work. Big mistake to trust a person who is in the world and of the world to do that with, because they don't know who they are, and you'll get burned. So the things that are really a priority in life is your spirituality and your money. You can come and go as you please with your money, and if you had a relationship or it was bad, so what? You can easily get over it as long as you have your money. It's no big deal. But if that goes too, it's a little bit more difficult and not as easy as you think. And it's really important that you know who you are surrounding yourself with. If you're around people that you can't trust and they're stealing from you behind your back, get rid of them, because they're a bad influence. And this is not to be respected. They're not a good example, nor a good role model. And if they're only after you for your money, what do you need them around you for? I don't care how good they look. They're hideous. It doesn't matter. And if all you are after is looks, and they haven't done their spiritual work, then what are you looking, what are you, you're basically saying that you're only interested in the shell because it's empty on the inside. There's nothing there. If you're just looking for the exterior, because I know I used to be that. If you're just looking to be with somebody just because of what they look like on the outside, that eventually decays, it gets old, tired, and then what? You're not going very far with that. That's just keeping up appearances. Because if you're spiritually bankrupt, you don't really have anything. I don't care how much money you have. That's the truth. I can say that because I've been through it. I can say that because I never quit. I can say that because I was never tempted. I can say that because I stayed on top of it. I can say that because I didn't know what I was doing when I began. And I had faith, I trusted, and I believed. And when you trust God, you have everything. When you step out of the world and do your spiritual work, then you're honoring yourself, you're honoring God, and you're honoring your ancestors. And how many people do that? How many people honor their ancestors? I mean, you never hear about that in public school. They never even mention it once. They think Halloween is all about getting dressed up in a costume, going door to door to collect candy. It's not. It's not even the correct they called it Halloween, but it's really not. I don't know, that must be a worldly holiday. Because really, it's about your ancestors. It's about honoring, respecting, showing love and gratitude, and appreciating your ancestors. Of all the sacrifices that they made, all that they've been through. And being grateful to them, because whether you know it or not, they're still with you. And if you're not honoring them and treating them with respect, how do you think your life is going to be? I mean, I didn't know anything about my ancestors before I stepped into this. I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to celebrate it. I didn't even know what to do. But I was smart, because the way I had started off with that was, I really want to share this with you, but I don't think I should. I think I'll just save that for either private or something else. I'll privately share it, or I'll put it in something else so that you'll know. But once I found out how to do that, I was having a lot of fun with it. Now, if I had my way and I wasn't in this situation financially, you know, I would just go all out for my ancestors, and they know it. And you know, when you do that, it brings such happiness to your life, because I don't know, just thinking about that makes me happy. Because when I do things for them, I go and check, and see what they did with it. And how much time do you spend with God? Do you make God a priority? And how much time do you spend with your ancestors? Do you make them a priority? Or is it all about the exterior, the shell, or the tomb of the soul, as Thoth would call it, or put it? And I had no idea what that meant either when I first heard that. But with every message I received, even though I didn't understand it, it stayed with me until I did understand it. And the more I listened, the more I paid attention, the more was shown to me. And it's best to follow your heart and listen to that still small voice rather than the ego. Because the ego will take you nowhere. It will keep you a slave to the establishment. It will keep you exactly where it wants you. But if you are interested in your higher self, in higher consciousness, then this is the only way to do it. It's through meditation. And it's best not to question it until you're blue in the face. It's not supposed to be understood by the mind. It's supposed to be understood and felt with the heart. It bypasses the mind altogether. Because when you've been going on autopilot that way, it's going to take you some time to make those adjustments to now do it the right way. Because your body is so used to functioning that way that now you have to retrain yourself. For me, I was a mess when I started. Going from not even knowing how to breathe because of asthma, that was awful. And most of the time I was holding my breath and didn't even know I was doing that. And I had a teacher, a trainer, constantly remind me, you're holding your breath. I didn't even know I was doing that. And that took her a long time to get me to bring my consciousness and my awareness to what I was doing to myself. I don't know how long she was telling me that before I actually understood what she was saying and I caught myself doing it. This is what I mean, autopilot. You could be doing something unconscious and you got to stay on top of it to wake yourself up so that you can stop hurting yourself. And when you've had breathing problems your entire life, or most of it, because of asthma, and now you're suddenly meditating and focusing on your breathing, it might take you a minute to really breathe correctly. I don't know how many asthmatics could swim, because I know that was the hardest thing for me to do. And I had many teachers try to teach me, and it just didn't work out. That's hard. But I no longer have asthma, and I've helped 3 people at the same time overcome asthma as well. Because when you can't breathe, that stinks. And when you're wheezing and it's so deep in your lungs, and you never know when your last breath is going to be, that's how awful it is. How can you really learn what you need to learn? How can you understand what you need to understand? Because you can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't really function in the world that well. What can you accomplish if you can't breathe? And most of the times you're lying down because you can't move, because you can't breathe. And if you try to, you can't even walk up straight because you're crawling on the floor because you can't breathe. And that's severe asthma. That's the worst. And do you think strapping 8 medications around your neck is going to help you? Or taking medications that they're now giving to people, which burns through your lungs, is that going to help you? Absolutely not. But let me not go down that road. That's all I'm going to share about that. But if you're having a lot of issues, say health issues, you know, anything in your life that isn't going the way you want it to go, and you keep trying to change things the way you're doing things, and nothing is working, well, the only solution is to meditate. Because you're too busy looking outside yourself for the answers. Everything is within. And just when you think you've meditated and gone deep enough, you can always go deeper. And dig deeper than an archaeologist would, or does. Because that's the way I like to look at it. I like to look at it as the great excavation, because you're digging and digging and digging and digging, and then sooner or later you're going to get to the good stuff. But you have to go through all the layers and layers of things you don't want before you do get to the good stuff. And there's lots of things I'd like to change about myself. Let's start with the way I communicate, with the words I use. I would definitely love to change that. And I will. Because I see that in others, and I admire that, and I try to say, well, how can I be that, how can I make that work for me? But if you truly love yourself, you'll stay on top of these sessions. And if money is no object to you and you have loads of it, and you haven't done any spiritual work, you don't have it all. To know thyself is going within. Self-mastery is going within. Healing trauma that's beyond severe is going within. And it's not easy to do it without a guide by yourself. I couldn't have done it without my guide, I tell you that. My guide's a powerful woman, and she was working with somebody that I knew. The minute she mentioned him, I didn't even know him. I had to work with him. I just felt it that I had to work with him too. And I did. And thank God I did. And thank God I stayed with them. Because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be here right now. It's if you've never meditated before, from my experience, it's best to have a guide and stay on top of it, because you don't know really what's going on out there and what's happening. And the more you stay on top of this, the better. And if you do that, you'll remember I said that, and you'll be so happy that you did not give up on yourself and you stayed on top of these sessions. So, I don't want to go into a long speech. I just wanted to share that with you so that you know how important these sessions are to you, to everyone that listens to them, to everyone that is here for these sessions. I don't joke around about these things, and I'm serious when it comes to these sessions, because I know what I've been through, and what I've been through was not a walk in the park. It wasn't a vacation. And to be honest, I don't know how it will be for anybody else, but for me it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So, if you have any comments, you know how to reach me. You can email me at reinadhabsburg@gmail.com, and I'll see you next time.